back in the action with a little bit of a rote setup here for you. I'm playing um, I'm playing 9,000 and good player. Him and I have played only a couple of times. We've kind of switched off between Rebel and Imperial, and this is another situation where I'm going to start. I need to get some recordings of me losing. Um, I actually was recording a game today that I ended up losing, and TTS or my computer or something crashed in the middle of it, and I lost the last turn of the game or so. And so um, that is on the docket, and in fact, this might be the first game. The first game of me losing. I lose a lot. I just um, haven't gotten a video yet of me losing. Part of that is once I started doing the post-game commentary, it allowed me to really focus. And when I know I'm recording, I'm really trying to do my best and think through everything and take it slower. And so that's one reason why I tend to just be a little more focused during the video recordings. Whereas when I'm playing more casually, I tend to make a couple more mistakes. And the last game I played versus 9,000, I think I lost as well. And so I'm out for blood. I believe I have the base deck here. That tends to happen is somebody will beat me and I'll get serious and I'll use the base rebel deck and try and see, if I can turn it around, turn my luck around. So here with we got Moncal for the rebels and no Salukami. So he chose road setup. I think even just for the novelty of it. I don't know if I don't think he plays imps that much. I can't remember what he was telling me. But sometimes it's fun to mix it up. And he is when I'm playing rebels on road setup, I'm always looking for Corellia. Corellia is almost always a weak point. If they deploy a fleet in Coruscant, Dagobah, and Mandalore, the problem is if I have Bothawi, then they have to put a fleet as well in Rhodia. And sometimes you can just put one Star Destroyer in Rhodia with a bunch of TIE fighters, and that's enough to defend it. Some of the weaknesses for the rebels on road setup are that the fleet. The fleet is much weaker. You lose a Y wing and an X wing for a U wing, and that is very bad. And it also makes it impossible, just about to kill a Star Destroyer turn one, losing a Y wing and an X wing. And so, what I try to do is I usually try to deploy out on uh, the map and threaten Corellia. Because if I can get Corellia and Mon Cal turn one, if I have something even like uh, decisive victory or can rule by fear in a free Corellia, something like that. The the other weakness for the rebels is that you lose a probe and a remote probe as that at that. One thing I've been noticing in my games is the games that I lose as rebels tend to be games where the Empire doesn't have to move to a lot of remotes. Because remotes, as you know, are moves for the Empire that really only check for the base. They don't provide any production. They don't stop rebel production. They don't help stop score rebel objectives, usually, barring a raid outpost. And and even then, if I have the rote deck, then you're helping me to score raid outposts by putting units on a remote system. And so what I've noticed with rote setup is it becomes much swingier. The negatives for the Empire are you have this wonky deployment where you have a defunct Death Star that's not ready for 3 turns, and you are forced to put your fleet, split up your fleet into only 3 groups, so it's harder to explore. Now, what can happen, and what does happen, is if the Empire gets really good probes, or if they get really good missions like loyalty missions or deployment and can check the few really far off systems that are inconvenient for them, then they can make up for the fact that they're in a rote setup, and with them getting Dagobah and oftentimes Corellia turn 1, that ends up being really, really powerful for the Empire. So what I found is rote setup is very swingy, even more so, in the initial just base setup of the game, really powerful. Fear will keep them in line turn 1, really good probes turn 1 and turn 2, a clutch Yularen to X off Endor and Hoth when the rebel player has been bluffing at that sector. Those can be swingy, but I find it even more so on road setup, that if Empire gets the really good missions, really good probes, something, a combination of the two, then it's just lights out for the rebels. Really tough for the rebels, on top of the weaker starting force and the usually stronger starting force, starting loyalties for the Empire. So 9,000 here is taking Mahdi. I believe I don't love it uh, because of rote setup. So what you with rote setup, you're really hard pressed as the Empire to get your fleets to the right spots. You need to cover Bespin by turn 3. You need to cover Ord usually turn 1. You have to cover Dagobah turn 1, and he has to cover Bothawi and would probably like to cover Kashyyyk and possibly deal with whatever my Cato force is doing. So I think this is one of those situations where you would really, really like to have all 4 of your actions turn 1. And unless you get Fear will keep them in line, or trade negotiations, or display of power, probably do 4 movements. Um, one thing that's tough about one thing that's tough about a rebel setup here is not getting Dagobah, and or not getting Utapau, and so you ask yourself where to go. Well, the next best thing to get is Ord. And after that, the next best thing in this situation, it looks like I could possibly get Mustafar, because he only has 1 transport on Dagobah, and then Toydaria, because you really need that Nebulon to pair with the Moncal to threaten the Death Star, to really bolster up your fleet. And so, as the Imperial player, that's kind of what you're looking to stop. Now, because I have no temporary alliance, because I have no uh, C3PO, no R2, he has a chance with Palpatine to block my loyalty, or to even put me in a position where I have to go for somewhere like Cato, where I have units already. And so that's another reason why I think it would be preferable for him to um, have all 4 actions turn 1. Now I'm opening up with this attack. He did no missions, and I'm just trying to make exploration more difficult for him. I can possibly, if I Sabo Ord, he's not going to get an assault carrier turn 1, and then I have 2 turns to score Threaten the Core, to make his life miserable, to take Solist, and because he has 1 transport now on basically the entire left side of the board, my left, his right, then taking out this assault carrier is really worth it. And in fact, the poor guy rolls all blanks, um, and that Y-wing survives. Feel very fortunate about that, an auspicious beginning, and I'm just running the three basic missions. With I have false orders, and I have subversion. So I'm going to be looking to block a lot of missions, probably on turn 3, right before our next build phase. He is wisely moving to, and again, I would like him to do this move with somebody other than Palpatine, because as long as Palpatine is in the pool, I am forced to build loyalty in Kata. I wouldn't go for Mustafar if he could potentially block with Palpatine. So that's one thing to think about. The other thing is I did have support of the Mon Cal. I could potentially run that with Leia. I don't feel a need to because I can run it anytime with Leia because I already have loyalty there. If I didn't have loyalty on Mon Cal, I would definitely consider running it with Leia to get that loyalty. Um, it has an extra bonus because we're about to build. And so not only would I be getting the loyalty, but I'd be getting the build. Whereas in this situation, all I'm doing is getting a Mon Cal, probably at the cost of um, uh, taking out this assault carrier. There's always a chance too that he could end up blocking it with Vader or something like that. So uh, I just I valued taking out the assault carrier and protecting my Kato troops more than getting an extra Mon Cal turn 1 that, in all honesty, I can get turn 2 or turn 3 or any time after that. He covers Bothawi. And I now have a chance to sabotage, and I don't I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't play 9,000 a lot. I know he watches my videos, so I know he's heard me talk about the value of a turn 1 assault carrier. But so normally, if I was more familiar, I might go off and Sabo Ord here, but I'm hoping he doesn't move there, and I would want to build loyalty there. And so now I'm hoping that he goes to Kashyyyk to cover Kashyyyk and not go to Ord because I would love to get loyalty in Ord here. Would love Ord. And it looks like he's going to go for Kashyyyk. I'm thinking my lucky stars. Drop it. Yeah. He drops tag. It's as good as done. I think I'm even contemplating in the game, like, should I say something? Should I try to do some mind games? Be like, can't wait to build all those troopers or something. Um, I think maybe he's worried about bringing an assault carrier and losing it to the Cato force. Little does he know. Oh, interesting. So it looks like with his logic, he's saying he's reluctant to move to Kashyyyk because that Y-wing survived. So I might have been. Hmm. I mean, I don't think he's right about that. I think he can still definitely move the assault carrier there, but because I don't have the Y-wing card, but the logic helps him make the better choice. And now I'm free to take Mustafar. I didn't point out where the base was because I wasn't even paying attention, so I don't remember where the base was. So we're all gonna be um, in the dark about that one. If I had to guess, I would say Dantooine or Tatooine. Those seem like pretty good places to put it. And now here's a choice. Lando, much better action card, but he has Mahdi, and I don't really have any missions to do this turn, so why not take Han and get Chewie and get on even leader footing with him, especially because I haven't gotten any recruit cards, and I am actually playing the rote deck, so I'm being extra feisty. Rote setup, rote deck. And now I'm just trying to build as many fighters as I can. I'm not going to worry about U-wing, not going to worry about transports. I just need fighters to make up for the weak starting fleet. And I should be dropping this trooper here on Mon Cal. That gives me a lot of utility. If he strips loyalty there, I can get it back really easily with a trooper there. And force him to eventually just move there and take it over. This is one thing that I like to do. He pulled out sweep the area. And so what I'm doing here is I'm marking the starting Imperial systems so that I know. I missed ROTE, but so that I know where it's safe to run missions. If I want to run an infiltrate, then I want to make sure to do it in a place where I'm not going to get captured since I haven't done any rapids yet. So that's just a little trick there. You know, sometimes it's good just in general. You can get confused sometimes, like if I were to clear off Megiddo and think, oh, maybe I can move there or something like that, to just keep in mind that no, no, uh, you are never going to find the Megiddo probe. It does not exist. I have false orders. I'm probably going to save false orders for turn three because turn three is such an important phase, especially for the Empire's production. That's usually when the bulk of the Empire's production is going to come out through loyalty, is the turn four build. And that's also timing wise the most important for their units because that's when you want to start building shield bunkers to protect the Death Star. That's when you want to start building Star Destroyers that you're going to end up deploying once you find the base to take over the base. And when you will have a clearer picture of the objectives that the rebels are trying to score. And so when you're running your construct factories, your R&Ds to get rid of cut supply lines, when you're, trying to build a super star destroyer that you got from a turn two R&D. So I'll be holding on to subversion and false orders. And then um, what I like to do with Dodana is wait at least for the level two objectives, but ideally after a stolen plan when I can see what objectives are coming up. Um, and make sure that if I draw something like a rebel cell, I have a good spot to place it so I'm not wasting an objective and wasting an action. Here I grab Chewie. Um, no reason to grab. Uh, it wouldn't have been the worst thing to grab Lando. I did just pass up his good action card, so I'm probably not going to recruit him naturally. And it would give me a couple extra diplomacy on Bespin. Now, Bespin would be a great place for him to pick for sweep the area because with his units, he's probably not going to be able to get to Bespin. I'm either going to sabotage or blockade Solus this round, and so I'm hoping to get a free build on Bespin, but um, Chewie is fine. Chewie is fine. I don't really value his action card too much. It's just so easy to play around with draw them out or with blindside from Fett. And there's not there's a couple of good reasons to use Chewie with the road deck for plant explosives or something like that. So we'll go with Chewie here. Again, um, that's good. I like that because he's two leaders up on me right now. And so as long as he doesn't run too many missions, he'll be okay. He really wants to he really needs to now with the position that he's in, he needs to make sure that he can get to cover Mon Cal. And he really wants to make sure that he can do everything he can to stop me from getting a second build on Mustafar and a build on Bespin. Because as soon as I start getting multiple Mustafar builds, that's that's trouble. The fighters are just so were one of his advantages with the road setup, and so you don't want to lose that advantage. You know, he's giving up things as well. He's giving up board placement. He's giving up an active Death Star, all of that at the cost of my fighters, and so you want to make sure to not give that up. Got Palpatine here on a mission. Leia is set to block. Um, I really would like to see him run an R&D here. Uh, instead, because whatever Palpatine is on, it's probably going to be a rule by fear and Utapau. He can do that ostensibly next turn. The thing is now, for example, I could open up with a sabotage in Utapau, and now we're going to be rolling 4 dice first three just for him to get a loyal sabotaged Utapau. And so um, I'd like to see him do the R&D to get that utility, to maybe get a construct factory, maybe build a superstar destroyer, just something that I can't block. Because again, his actions for the first 2 or 3 turns of a road setup are super vital. I do have a Nebulon and a Y-wing to deploy, so I can cause some trouble at some critical junctures, possibly around Geo Naboo, around Bespin. Oh, and here comes, oh goodness, 3 missions. Now, the idea with false orders is I want to give myself the best chance to block whatever he's doing. So, say he drops Vader on a mission here, I would just false order Vader because I statistically going to be less able to block whatever Vader is doing with Leia compared to Palpatine. And so, especially if it's a capture, I don't necessarily want to have to play around a capture this turn while all of my fist leaders are on the board. If he tries to capture turn three, fine, I have Chewie, I have Han. I'm going to be able to block it or do something about it. And also, with the rote deck, there's just fewer rescues. And so a capture can be more of a nuisance. But it looks like he's going for a logistics play here. And so I'm probably not going to false order, expecting Palpatine to be on the rule by fear in Utapau. I don't know where I dropped this sabotage. You know, I'm looking to fork him here and with Bespin and Solist, and so um, I wonder if I'm contemplating just using the false order now on Palpatine. Yeah. Oh, and Mahdi. I get it. Okay. So I false order Mahdi because I assume. Okay. I got to get in the headspace. This is a good play. So I assume that Mahdi is on R&D. And what I want to do is score cut supply lines. So I'm opening up here. I get rid of the R&D, and now I open up with a sabotage on Mandalore because he has to move toward Mon Cal this turn. And with all my leaders on the board and him being 2 actions up, I'm never going to get off a sabotage now that he's probably expecting cut supply lines due to my false order. So I do it in the one place he can't block, and it's also the one place where he can't uh, move. Um, he can't. It's loyal, so he can't unsubjugate it by moving the ground units off of it. And so that's a good play. It's a little bit costly, but now what I'll do to get the third blockade is I will attack Solist. Huh. So he sends Vader to Bespin. Interesting. Not sure what that's about. I'm not too worried about it. Little does he know, I'm not blocking whatever Palpatine is doing with Leia because I'm taking Solist. I've just set myself up to get cut supply lines turn two, and so that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Now I'm just wondering what the heck is he up to? I'm wondering maybe Palpatine is on Subvert. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of time here by doing this attack. Mm, I wished I would take everything. I guess I leave the Y-wing behind um, to protect Utapau possibly, or Kato, in case he tries to move toward it this turn. Interesting. Very interesting turn two. I completely forgot that I false ordered Mahdi. I like it though. I like it. Objectives are key, and it's looking like I'm going to be getting some good production even into turn three or turn four, and so why not? And I'm not too worried about next turn because I still have the subversion. I cancel that. Risky, risky. I think I should just take one ground unit. Now it's not as risky as it normally would be because I can leave Dodana behind. And so I will get the one reroll, but whew, all this whole plan is for nothing. And it's happened to me. It's happened to me where I whiff on three black dice, but I'm risking it. Oh, okay, I get it hit. Thank goodness. And he gets a heal, but I have the. And this is the point. This is where you just want to leave three troopers or leave all of them. So I get the third blockade. Cut supply lines is imminent. And I've also put him in an awkward situation too, where okay, trade negotiations. So he is using the base deck. Um, huh. Wow. Very interesting. I don't think he has to do this. Oh goodness. At this point, yeah, that can't be. Uh, okay. He's worried about Kato, but I wouldn't even mind a move from Ord to Alderaan. Um, at this point, I'm like, did he draw Tatooine and Kessel? Did he, that's going to be tough for him because now yeah, he could have moved from Ord to Alderaan, and he could have done, for example, an assault carrier from Rhodia to Naboo, um, or moved the Star Destroyer to Toydaria. I think that would have been helpful because he wants to cover Toydaria, now Hutta, Geo, Naboo. All of these are going to be potential. He even could have done the trade negotiations. You know, he didn't have to, he was up so many actions, he could have waited. I guess he didn't want me to just go right ahead with Mothma, but then what he could have done is put Vader on trade negotiations. He could have put Vader on trade negotiations, and that's an interesting situation. I had both Han and Chewie, so I got the top card, which ended up being a really good card. And he's right, this is a very, very rare couple of occurrences. Now, what I was saying was he could have put Vader on trade negotiations and kept Palpatine back to block. investment in case he was worried about me building there. Um, because there's still some really high value spots. Tatooine, Mustafar, Cato, Mon Cal. Um, I'm choosing Tatooine because he has committed so hard away from it. I know he's going to be moving to Cato. I know he's going to be moving to Mon Cal. I'll put those on top. And now I also have a good idea of some places I can run missions and block missions. That's the big thing with Sweep the Area 2 as Empire is if you are choosing that action card, you don't just have to wait for a probe that's good where, oh, I think the rebels are going to be running a mission there. It's oftentimes good to choose systems where you know you can run missions and expecting the rebels to block it. So you have Mon Cal under and sweep the area. You run a gather intel there. I go to block it with Leia. Now, boom, Leia's going to get captured. Things like that. Um, I get Cassian. Cassian really good with the rote deck, really good because I can run recons with him. I have all my rescue, my two of my three rescues are three blue dice and are three blue icons, and he's really good for behind enemy lines and for his mission. So I already have Chewie, no reason to get Saw. Cassian is really, really good. And I've said this before, but under the radar, the Cassian Saw action card is extra valuable with the rote deck because I have no plant false leads. And so being able to always have an option to move or to bluff at a late game is super valuable. So here we are going to run the huh, here we are going to run the Mon Cal support of the Mon Cal. Now, why I like this is because I'm going to keep a fist leader back. I have Leia on subversion, but I'm going to keep a fist leader back. Um, whether it's, am I? No, it looks like I actually have Chewie out on a mission. But the hope is by that he's not going to be set up for a capture. And he's probably hoping, even to some degree, maybe to strip loyalty from Mon Cal. Mon Cal would be a great place to do a display of power. And so I'm going to surprise him. I'm going to run support of the Mon Cal to get that extra uh, big boy on the queue. And at the same time, prevent him from, running any shenanigans, a display of power or something in Mon Cal. He deploys an assault carrier in Dagobah. Um, I did not foresee this coming either in the game or in the commentary. I just didn't pay attention to him putting a shield bunker there, but really good play by him to have the foresight to put the shield bunker there so that he can deploy the assault carrier. So now I'm really wishing I had brought that Y-wing with me because it would give me a shot of coming after this assault carrier. So now we got to adjust assault. Do I really run an assault? I could do the assault in Ord. He has just a single trooper in Ord. So that might be what I'm hoping for. And I'm not doing an infiltrate probably because I'm planning on doing rebel planning. Exactly. We get the rebel cell. Not ideal. And this is the danger. I was saying earlier, you want to wait until you get a good chance. And he is about to have a fully functional Death Star one step away from the Rebel cell. So this was an error. I should have just run the infiltrate and listened to my past self. And also, I'm trying to pull off an assault in Ord, and a part of that is getting the last getting having a good action advantage, waiting for him to move the assault carrier from Ilum, something like that. I really don't like playing rebel planning here. I think this is a blunder by me. Wow. And Ozzel comes out. Hmm. Uh, I wonder what he's worried about here. I wonder what he's worried about. Um, Maybe he doesn't want me to blockade Bespin, but that's not that big of a deal. So maybe he doesn't want me retreating those units or dropping more units there. There was nothing I could do about his assault carrier. His This is what I'm a little bit confused about is my transport is never going to be able to kill his assault carrier, so he's not in need of doing that by surprise. He can just wait for my first action, and then no matter what I do, he can then just move into Mustafar if that's what he wants to do. So I'm wondering maybe he didn't want me to blockade Bespin, but um, I don't know if that is worth losing Catch by Surprise, which is just far and away the best action card in the game. It's really the only thing you just cannot play around or do anything about. Um, so yeah, so I think right now I'm feeling really good about that. I'm expecting Mustafar to get blown up next turn by the Death Star, and I'll at least get one score out of this rebel cell. And so, hey, you know, you take what you can get. Um, One of my objectives is rebel assault. I'm planning on scoring that. It's a pretty easy objective to score, especially with rote deck. And then I have another level one that I think is regional. But whatever it is now, it's freed me up to build loyalty wherever I want. Um, he's running 3 missions. Looks like a couple of logistics. And again, I'm really happy to see Palpatine on a mission because now it's going to be harder for him to block support of the Mon Cal. So unless Palpatine is on display, you probably want to put a different leader on. I get a little bit worried that he's doing this move with Krennic's Finest. It makes me wonder if Tag is on a sneaky capture. Although now that I have Cassian and Greater Good, I'm not too worried about getting captured. I like what 9000 is doing. He's moving a Star Destroyer rather than putting an assault carrier there or something like that because he's very weak on the Yavin side of the board. Just the way the movements have worked out, especially because he brought this Star Destroyer to Malastare. Normally, you'd want that Star Destroyer moving to Toydaria, um, and it might, in fact, move to Toydaria this turn, but very happy to see that. I'm going to drop a Sabotage here in Utapau. Um, if he is on a Rule by Fear there, I can subvert it with Leia and have a really good shot of blocking. And now I'm not too worried about these sabotages sticking because I've already scored my cut supply lines. You know, one thing about my false order on Mahdi last turn and then sabotaging Mandalore with the rote deck, and I know I've said this before, you really want to, as much as you can, be quick on scoring objectives. The rote rebels are very fast paced. Burn through units quickly, and especially on rote setup, you oftentimes have fewer units to begin with, and so anything you can do to really speed up. And now he's bringing the a Star Destroyer to Cato. Hmm. Okay. I'm not, I don't know his probes, so I don't know what he's got. I think he could have done this move with the assault carrier. He might not want to lose his assault carrier, but he's got two on the queue, and he's about to have a couple more. So yeah, I wouldn't. I think this move could be done with. Now you always risk just being really weak up by Nal Hutta, really weak up there. He's got one move. Um, okay, I'm dealing with a little bit of lag there, but he. All right, now we got Vader, Han running a rule by fear, and I don't know if this is smart. I think I kind of just chalk up my losses. I know I have Chewie on Assault, but I think rather than going for the build alliance there, what might be better is going for Nalhutta and then just using Chewie to assault Ord in order to prevent him from getting an assault carrier. I think he's going to be able to far and away outweight anything I do. I could have also burned Cassian. I could have put him in, you know, Kashyyyk or Mustafar if I was worried about a gather intel. I'm going to subvert this. I'm guessing the other two are on logistics. And Leia comes through in the clutch. Yeah, instead of doing the rule by fear there, I wish I had stalled with Cassian because I just don't think I ever get Ord. Just don't think I ever get Ord. And now I'm putting him in Solist just because in case he moves from Alistair to Solist, maybe I'll have some leader there to fight. And yeah, it's the thing too is not only am I not going to get Ord myself, but he can just move back there with Vader, and I roll it too. The road deck, man. These assault plant explosive cards just never feel good. Never feel good. Okay. He frees up Mandalore. Makes sense. And now he can just. Oh no, 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 no. Yeah, this is not what you want to be doing. He wants to move to Ord. Giving me Ord here is I get rid of Rebel Assault. Keep the crippling blow. I actually think that's a mistake. I think I should get rid of crippling blow and keep the Rebel Assault. Like I said, it's such a good card, such a good objective to try and score for with the road deck. Yeah, so this Ord play is giving me another speeder and another Nebulon. Now I'm immune to Jerjerrod. Now I to his blow up a ship card, fully operational, and in the speeder, the third speeder is just super powerful. Especially now as you see with turret. I have turret. I can get Nadine still. I can draw plant explosives. I am setting myself up to be a powerhouse on the ground. And because this is rote, I can get up to three base defenses in the base. And so when you're playing a rote rebel, you really gotta, it's really important to pay attention to the balance of your space um, and ground. Now, he's going to be getting three circle units, but no AT-ATs. And so, yeah, he's just a Maydeen, a turret, and a plant explosives away from really having no ground. Another thing, too, is another reason why you really don't want me to have Ord is I'm now into my level twos, and now I can deploy right next to Coruscant. I could drop a U-Wing and a trooper there, and with turret, I could blow up a, a whole lot of stuff. I could score heart this turn and potentially hold it for two turns with a behind enemy lines on that Star Destroyer. You know, there's a lot that can go wrong and when you are into the level twos and you're letting them deploy in Ord. And in fact, I kind of wish I just deployed something there anyway, just to scare him a little bit. He has no surprise left, and he didn't draw Soon Tier, and so I I don't know why I'm not even just deploying a U-Wing and a trooper and taking Coruscant. Even if it forces him to deploy an assault carrier there, that's a win for me. Okay, so we're all deployed here, and I have Cassian back. I'm hoping to block, gather intel. Again, probes, really, really valuable when you're rote. Rebels, and Turret is back in case, I saw, so he drew three projects last turn and he discarded one laser. So I'm guessing he has a laser, but in case he doesn't, I want to be able to block a planetary in Mustafar or even use Turret's ability to blow up some ground if he attacks Mustafar. I'm sort of expecting him to blow up Mustafar, but I really wished what he had done was to deploy some ground in Dagobah and tried to take it by ground because the laser here is a bit of a liability. It takes away one of my loyalty by killing Mustafar, but he's not getting an extra loyalty the way you normally would with a car. And he's putting himself in a position where if he does have to laser later, now something like Inspire Sympathy gives me 2 points. And so I wouldn't hate him deploying, an assault carrier, an ATST and another trooper and just coming into Mustafar and wiping it out. Especially rather than this lone ATST and Bespin, which isn't really doing much. Um, so so yeah, we'll see if he ends up blowing it up. But a lot of logistic leaders coming in. And interesting, interesting. You always pray that's not Ozzel on his mission. I've always thought it was super unfair that Ozzel has the best action card and then one of the most devastating missions, draw four probes on a resolve. I really think it should be three, two versus three. I've also thought that Akbar's mission supported the Mon Cal if Akbar is on it, because it's kind of a weak mission, and a lot of times you're putting Akbar at risk. I've always wished I shouldn't say it's a weak mission. It's just never worth getting Akbar for that mission. You already have two leaders that can run it, and you don't want Akbar to get captured ever. And so I kind of wish that if it were Akbar running it, he would get two loyalty and a Mon Cal. I mean, it is his homeworld after all. Whereas something like Support of the Wookiees, I feel like that card's powerful enough that if you put Chewie on it, it's basically unblockable, and then you're getting a loyalty and destroying four health. That's pretty good as it is. All right, here they come. No ground again. Yeah, so it's looking like a laser, which is fine. I have Mothma on regional aid, And it's always scary because, with established trade relations, Mothma is very difficult to block. And when you don't have 3PO on Mothma, it can be sometimes very difficult to score regional aid. And I kind of wish this has been a theme, but for these first couple of turns, that over 9,000 had Palpatine to block. It's come up a couple of times now where, oof, he has Vader on subversion. So that's good. Yeah, he blocks it. Okay, good. Good for him. Yeah, so that ends up being a moot point. Vader on subversion was a really good play. And here comes the laser. And now I had Cassian queued up on Recon because I'm trying to score popular support here. And so I need to grab a couple more loyalty. So if I don't get it this turn, maybe Palpatine is on a propaganda, then I can hopefully get it next turn. But regional aid, especially this late in the game, is not really what I want to be reconning. But I just really don't have any better options. My missions have not been very good. Um, I don't want to, normally you want to use it on the base defenses or a plan the assault or a heist, something that can just give you a bit more control of the objective deck, a bit more tempo. But you also don't want to let it just sit in your hand because Recon is a very slow card. And so you want to use it if you got it. Not worried about Vader anymore, so turret's going to stall for time. Okay, he's moving to Felucia. He's benefiting from that Mon Cal move, that Star Destroyer move to Mon Cal. I don't want to. Salukami is a good place to Sabo. Just try and cut down on some of these yellow circles. Um, and I already have Corellia and Utapau taken care of. Now with where my Space Force is at, depending on where I'm at on the map, but if I am where I think I am, then he really doesn't have enough space at the moment with one Star Destroyer on queue. And I'm stopping him from getting basically any assault carriers, any Star Destroyers. He only got the build from Tarkin's action card. And so I'm feeling very confident about space, especially if I could grab a base defenses or something like that. Um, I guess it depends on what Tarkin is on. Maybe he got a Super Star Destroyer, but even then, it's going to be coming out a little slow. I don't mind putting Cassian here in Ord to stall for time. Of course, then he could move out of Cato and leave that as a rebel system, but nothing wrong with stalling. I really don't want the recon blocked. That's why I'm trying to stall. So yeah, I'm just gonna put Cassie in there in case there's a gather intel. Oh, so I'm prioritizing the recon here over the gather intel. And there's a construct factory. So good on him. He's going to be able to get some more ships. But again, he kind of wanted those last turn. It might be a little bit too late, especially if I can pick off the Star Destroyers one by one. But now you're also seeing it's a lot easier to bring the space out of the base because it's a lot easier to retreat the space into the base. And so if I haven't already regretted getting rid of Rebel Assault in lieu of Crippling Blow, I am now. Because you really want to be picking off Star Destroyers one by one. And one way to justify that, one way to make that really efficient, is by also scoring Rebel Assault while you're doing it. And so the only way I'm going to score Crippling Blow is by bringing my space and my ground out of the base and making the base a lot weaker. So he's checking Dathomir. Not in Dathomir. And now I'm free to rule, build alliance. Do it in Nalhutta, force him to put some stuff up in Bothawi. He's uh he's counting my loyalty. I want six, so he's staying on top of me. One, two, three, four, five. I think I just have five because he blew up Mustafar. So he's doing a good job. He's paying attention to the right things. Unfortunately, I have another regional aid in my hand, so unless he gets propaganda, he's probably not going to be able to stop it 2 turns in a row. We'll see if Leia's able to get the block off. Oh, and he just goes for Megiddo. He succeeds. Wait. Oh, I do have six. So him and I both miscounted. Yeah, yeah, he's regretting miscounting. I actually miscounted watching. A few of those are. And here we go. Okay, so now we got the base defenses, we got the behind enemy lines, we have the liberation right off the top, and I'm feeling pretty good. Um, I think Wedge is a good pick here. I am sort of out of the woods as far as like really bad intel missions. I'm I like Wedge because I have a pretty solid handle on space supremacy. And with Wedge's action card defending the base with an ion cannon, it's going to be pretty unstoppable. Hmm. I have quite a few. Yeah, I think I'm good on blue. I'm not too worried about the Death Star plans. That's the main fit reason why I take undercover, especially if I'm offered it early, is because first of all, you just need a leader with 3 blue icons, whichever deck you're playing. But also, uh, Obi is such a great way um, to stop Death Star plans. And you never know. Even if your base is not near the Death Star, you never know when you're going to need to blow it up. But that's always a mission worth playing undercover for. I'm a little bit hesitant. I think I'm trying to figure out if I can score crippling blow somewhere out on the map, depending on his deployment. I'm surprised that I'm hesitating so much. and he just takes a card. So could be Ozil, another Ozil card, could be proceeding as planned, could be one of Piet's card. That's probably the worst case scenario is Piet because both of his cards are very good and very difficult to play around. He's out of starting action cards, so no surprise there. And they go for Lando. Um, really, Lando? Okay, there's Obi. Hmm. Huh. Really like that. I wished I had taken Wedge and maybe gotten rid of Dewey or Rican. Um, logistics, is not quite as important. I mean, you always want to have two logistics leaders, but compared to um, base deck, where logistics is massive, in base deck you want to be able to pull off a rapid with a plant false leads and a hidden fleet, you know, which that's three logistics right there. So yeah, but I take Obi-Wan and we'll see. Maybe he'll block some probe draws. I don't really know what I'm too scared of. And yeah, I'm setting up here to free up Bothawui to get another speeder, but to also score either Liberation or Crippling Blow with Turret, depending on what he puts there. And I have to try and use this regional. See, this is what I mean about when I get rid of Rebel Assault. This would be a great time to queue up this behind enemy lines wherever he ends up dropping this Star Destroyer and attacking out. Like if I can do it even two spaces away from the base, then I'm able to come back and cover the base again, especially because I know catch them by surprise has already been expended. So yeah, just little details like that. Um, Part of that is just me still being a little less familiar with the rote deck because with the base deck, Crippling Blow is much easier to score. Crippling Blow with a Public Uprising, with an Insight Rebellion on a Shield Bunker, a lot of easy ways to score Crippling Blow in the base deck, but not so much with rote. So 9,000 is all deployed. I like what he's doing. He's really thinking through his deployment, and it shows. He's been able to um, it shows he's been able to mitigate a lot of my efforts um, through deployment, and it's clear that he's thinking about the objectives that he needs to be blocking. I kind of wish I would put Cassian here on behind enemy lines because I have two combat objectives I could score, and I could also defend Ord again. He has very little to cover Ord. He's going to be bringing an assault carrier and a trooper, and I could score Liberation there. I could kill a leader there. Lots of havoc I could wreak there on Ord if he tries to cover it again, something like that. But at the very least, I could score Liberation in Bothawi and then a crippling blow in, Ryloth or Felucia. Even this is one interesting thing is look at how weak his ground is. He's built so many shield bunkers, and Solus has been blockaded for so long that when you look around the board, there's only two systems where he has more than two health worth of ground. And so even for crippling blow, and that might be why I'm not trying to score it this turn, is because I don't want my stuff in Felucia. I don't want my stuff in Geo. But you can see how, and I'm also running base defenses here, and you can kind of see how um, he's fallen behind. He's done a good job trying to catch up on space, But that's where that balance, especially with road setup, is necessary. Is okay, when do I switch over from getting as much space as I can to getting more ground? Now, in the end, it's not going to matter because the Empire catches up on ground so quickly. You get a planetary conquest, you get one turn, building three ATSTs, whatever the thing but it's that initial base attack. Are you able to withstand that initial base attack, and have the rebels been scoring enough objectives where if you fail that first base attack, the game is just over. So that's kind of where we're at. We got a scary Krennic's finest on a mission. Ozzel on a mission. You always hate to see that. You don't want him drawing probes. And I wonder if this makes me pause at all about attacking with Churret, because I would really like to block a fist mission. Of course, one thing I like about Han, I really like Han as a leader. His mission is so good and so necessary to get the extra leaders on, the extra successes on. But also, I love being able to infiltrate with him because I can always infiltrate on a place where he doesn't want to block it. And then I can start stacking leaders to prevent captures. I just find Han really, really useful, especially with base deck. So here we're attacking out. I don't want him to reveal the base because I'm about to get another Moncal. Ooh, and he flashes the ready for action. I think I assume that. I assume that he has ready for action and keep them from escaping. It could only be that, or he really doesn't want to use it here. Really, really not good to use it here. Because there's it's very unlikely that this assault carrier survives. Maybe he's contemplating whether he uses keep them from escaping, but I'm attacking out because I want to be able to deploy this next Moncal in the base and get a little bit more ground. So he does send a leader. Probably not necessary. I'm rolling two greens. I have an ion blast, so in all likelihood, I'm destroying it. And now I can retreat here to Dantooine, which is good. The I'm not worried about an Imperial Might or anything like that, because he is playing base. Uh, I wonder if it was worth it to put this speeder in base. The base with three speeders and shield generator is just really, really tough. There's this unfortunate truth too. I don't know what his probe situation is, but I could always relocate to Alhada or Kessel. And because he didn't cover Ord 2 turns ago and left it for this turn, he risks me either building an Ord again or oof, or and if he doesn't cover Ord, I can deploy there and get more units. And if he doesn't cover Ord, then it's just longer for him to threaten the base. So it's a tough situation here that he's in. And I failed the scoring liberation. He got the crit that he needed, and but I did free Bothawi, and now I'm a little bit worried about propaganda. Of course, if he does propaganda in Toydaria, I got the regional aid queued up. So I think it's safe to base defense. It wouldn't increase his probe draw. Um, okay. Might not be terrible to do it in Ord. case he moves to Ord, I can then sabotage Ord, um, and get the extra fist there. Yeah, yeah. Could have done it in Ord, and now I'd be set up for a pretty good sabotage here. I might, depending on what Ozzel ends up doing, if I can stall out Ozzel, I might really like to sabotage Megiddo here. Not only because it's right next to the base, but because Solist is still blockaded. And so his ground is super, super weak. And with a second Moncal in the base, I'm really not worried about space. Um, but if I can hold up, I'm being a little bold here with okay, and there's a major victory. So this behind enemy lines, we're going to be able to get major victory if he doesn't deploy the Star Destroyer right next to us. Mm, there you go. 4 probes down the hatch. So gross. Keeping turret back to block. And now because I saw that he has no logistics, I'm free to sabotage Megiddo, which also has the double benefit of protecting Obi-Wan from a capture. But I think that's definitely the play. We can build alliance with Han and Naboo. It's a really good place to do it. We get a couple more triangle units, and he can't move to cover it. And by now he might be starting to realize the ground situation. Because I freed up Bathory and I have his yellow squares blocked, he'll only be getting the ATST from Bespin. So in pretty quick, in basically 1 turn, I've been able to completely shut down his ground. And with getting Bathory myself, now Hutta, possibly Naboo, I'll be getting quite a big influx of ground units. He does the right move, brings the Star Destroyer down to Mandalore. Um, I am free to build alliance wherever I please, and that will be Naboo. Yeah, there goes the ill-fated capture. Chewie. And Chewie pulls up clutch. I'm still not sure if I'm going to attack out. The reason why I didn't block with turret is because if I did fail, I could just attack out and free the leader anyway. But I'm also really needing to stall around propaganda. So if I just put turret on Toydaria, I can give myself enough time that when he does, that was another reason why sending tag, because if he hadn't sent tag to that battle, then he um, then he would have had the last action, and he could have used the propaganda after me. It is propaganda, and unfortunately, it's still probably best for him to. Yeah, tag really messed him up there. And because I have the level threes coming up, you still have to do it in Toydaria. Because even though I'm still going to get those builds, you just don't want me to rack up too much loyalty. There's always a chance I could get uprising. And yeah, Bothaway. Okay. So he gets Leia. Now, again, I'm not too hurt about this. I do have Obi-Wan with his rescue. So I'm gonna and I've kind of stalled out on scoring objectives. So drawing some more objectives. Did I really think it was Bathory? I don't know. Bathory is a very Bathory, Kato, Bespin, very common sweep the area, very common secret facility locations. But I don't remember having a good read on based on anything that he had done. And I'm getting three fighters. Three fighters. That's so many fighters. I'm pulling out the transport here because I would like to use this behind enemy lines potentially to score crippling blow somewhere. But I don't want to, like I was saying earlier with ROTE, if you do that, then you have to empty out with your space because you need your space to carry your ground. So using a transport is a lot easier for that. Wouldn't mind plopping something down in Bathui, forcing him to waste some units in that region. Maybe not knowing if I have a rescue or not. And I could always get a cheeky, you know, crippling blow with Baze's loyalty, something like that. But no, I decided not to. I guess I'm dropping these units because I have a feeling I'm only going to get one more chance to deploy. And there could be a establish outposts coming up, something like that. So might as well just start spreading a couple of units. I'm really not big on just randomly placing rebel units on the map. I think that's a big waste of very important limited resources. But because he knows where the base is, I'm probably not going to move. I'm probably going to get one, maybe two more deploys in base before it's revealed. Then I'm fine hedging on there being a established outpost coming up, especially since I'm going to draw an objective here with my OB rescue. Not not super worried about carbon, not super worried about retrieve the plans. Um, just the way that, yeah, but this is a situation where I do feel like I'm comfortable with Cassian. I'm comfortable with Cassian coming in on for the greater good, but I would really rather have Wedge with target the Star Destroyers to win this space battle, especially against possibly two Piet action cards. Um, so that I am kind of regretting that decision. I don't really expect him to even try to block greater good, whether it's Cassian or Obi, especially since that could put him at risk for Return of the Jedi. Actually, what I could do here with Cassian is get a little cheeky major victory in Toydaria. Come in with the U-Wing and blow up the assault carrier and then do some X-Wing damage, take out the TIE fighters. The risk here is, you don't want to do something like behind enemy lines on Ord, because he could always send a leader and then get a free retreat to Megiddo. And as much as you can, you want to try to destroy these Star Destroyers by themselves. And so if he delays, say he moves a Star Destroyer to Dathomir and then one to Megiddo, then I can attack out very easily and kill the Star Destroyers, retreat back to kill the one Star Destroyer, retreat back to Dantooine, and give myself give myself an even bigger leg up in the space department. Okay, so he reveals the mysterious extra card, and it is proceeding as planned. He accidentally flashed the um, interdictor card. I think Construct Factory might actually be the solution. Not only does he really need the ground for getting Megiddo, but he also needs to remove that Sabo in a guaranteed way. I'm just pointing out, yeah, 9,000 did something a little odd. He shuffled the project into his hand, but what you're supposed to do is just pull out the project from the project deck and then place the leader whose picture is on it. It's kind of the same thing as Leia's Only Hope um, card. What is her action card called? Most Desperate Hour. Leia's Desperate Hour. You pull the mission out, place Leia directly on it so that you know, like, okay, this is what's actually being pulled out. Um, and it, does potentially matter. I don't think 9,000 is pulling anything, but it's just not something that you ever need to do. I know everybody should know that Ozlo's going on the project you pulled out of the deck. Um, I'm not really sure quite yet what my opening plan is. The It's always fine to start off with the rescue, especially since it looks like he doesn't have a follow-up capture. So if Vader is on a carbon or retrieve the plans, then he doesn't really have a backup. And it looks like I am going for a cheeky little turret attack. I don't know about this. Kind of wish I just opened up with the rescue. Huh. Okay, so I'm going for crippling blow. Yeah, I kind of just I like going for crippling blow here better than major victory. For all the same reasons that I should have kept Rebel Assault instead of Crippling Blow. I'll gain an extra Vanguard and then blow up this ATST, and because the Trooper was also blown up with Baze's loyalty, then that'll count as three ground. He rightfully does the ATST card. You never know if I'm going for a liberation or something like that. So got to spend the card. There's the crippling blow. And Empire is running out of time. One, two, three, four. Perfect. Again, depending on his. Oh, okay. And here is the retrieve the plans. He's got a good shot at it. Oh yeah, yeah, he's gonna get it. Oh wow, 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 wow. What a roll. Very lucky on my part. He could have, now what he could have done is, and what he probably should have done is move with Krennic. Oh, Krennic's Finest is on a mission. He could have moved with Piet and moved to Bothawi to cover Bothawi or cover Nalhada, whichever probe he doesn't have. And then as I was thinking might be the case, there's established outposts. And so I got Sullust, I have Nalhada, I have Dantooine. I can always use behind enemy lines to get some more units out on the map. Yeah, and he brings it all. That's absolutely right. Now, if I had opened up with a build alliance on Megiddo, it doesn't look like he has a way to get the sabotage off. He might be on Construct Factory anyway. I lost track of his projects, but that's just something to keep in mind. And now I can free layup. Might it should be automatic. I don't think he's going to um, block. I don't think he can afford it. I don't know what that means. Somebody in the comments, let me know what that means. True, maybe. I don't even know what language that is. Russian. Now an interesting thing. I can behind enemy lines in Ord to score liberation and give myself another place to deploy. So that's always an option. One thing I always try to think about with these behind enemy lines is you can score objectives, yes, but also what are systems that you can free up either for your own production or deployment, but also probes you know are still in the deck. If Moncal's still in the deck, score liberation in Moncal and give him a headache of, oh my goodness, now. And if things go really poorly next turn in Dantooine, I can move to Moncal, something like that. Looks like he's still rushing to cover Endor, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know if, yeah, I really wished I had done a build alliance earlier in Megiddo. I think I could have done it before he moved there with Palpatine. I think I could have done it because I did an infiltrate with Han. So if I do that, then he's forced to block it unless he is on a. But I really don't want him putting that interdictor down. I mean, it's not the end of the world because I can be on defense and cancel with the Corvette card, but I think it would have been a better play to build alliance in Megiddo before doing the infiltrate. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven loyalty, eight loyalty. So there was no risk in like, oh, if I get uprising with for the greater good, could I score uprising this turn? That was never going to happen because I was only at seven. So yeah, I think that was the play. Now we'll score liberation. I'll bring the Nebulon. Don't mind losing the Nebulon because I already have one in Dantooine. This is going to get us close to establishing outposts, but unfortunately no cigar. And this feels a bit risky because he still has a damage card, right? Doesn't he have bombardment? Yeah, it's a bit risky. What am I trying to do? I already failed in Bothawy. You'd think I'd learned my lesson. Roll a heal? Nope. And he rolls a crit. So yeah, not the brightest bulb. I should have just brought another trooper. I might have even not been paying very close attention to his combat cards. I also could have deployed another thing in Naboo, another thing in Nalhutta to move, something to make this established outposts a reality. But there you have it. So what I'm gonna have to do is next turn I will attack out to score major victory, and in all likelihood, and just giving him a total headache, and then hold on to in the base in order to score establish outpost. Yeah, and there is the R&D. Might be a detain. Not too worried about a detain here. Really, he should do it in Ord. He should for sure do it in Ord because I can always deploy more units and move them. He might not feel confident about winning that role, but that's really the only valuable place. I guess maybe if he has a planetary in hand, maybe you want to try and detain Chewie. That's a thought, but he goes for Mothma. Not too worried about that. And now I'm in a bit of, I was saying earlier that I'll just attack out to score major victory. Not a great plan because he can drop an interdictor there. So this is where, yeah, this is where I kind of bungled by letting him take that Sabo off of Megiddo. I kind of forced myself in a position where I really need to be playing defense. I'm going to try and set up for establishing outposts. Might be a little obvious what I'm doing. And then I need to bolster up the base. Now, one thing to think about is it's not a guarantee. Actually, he just used his interdictor card. Okay. I think I just noticed, oh, he spent his interdictor card. I'm free to attack out. So he did the interdictor card when I attacked Toydaria. There had to have been a better card to use. Dang. That's unfortunate for him. And yeah, he knew needed to hold on to that interdictor card. I don't know how many cards he has left, but he's given me license to attack out. And I do know he has Piets ready for action, so I have to be wary of that. But this is where Wedge would be so good, so powerful. I'm going to do a misdirect here on the Build Alliance because I'm at 8 and I have Uprising, so I can maybe block with Leia. Oh, I decide not to. That would have been flashy. Do the rule by fear with Riken and or Obi-Wan or whoever and misdirect it so he can't block it. Um, but yeah, this is where there's a Nebulon and a Y-Wing that wouldn't be in the fight if he had detained an Ord. And I really need to do something. I can't just sit back because if I sat back, what he could do is he could attack my Moncal and Dantooine that are just hanging out in my Moncal and my Nebulon that are just hanging out in Dantooine without him bringing ground. He could leave a Star Destroyer behind and just take out those two space units without revealing my ion cannon and the rest of my fleet. So whatever I do, I have to do something. I can't just give him uh, the option to attack me on his terms because then he can blow up my Mon-Cals separately. So whether I reveal the base, whatever, I need to open up with something. New Hope. I don't think that really accomplishes anything. Sometimes New Hope is good when you are in a remote system and you're worried about a potential planetary or like a deployment, then you can New Hope to get Han there. But I already have Han, and I don't want to get Luke because I don't want him to lure Luke and prolong the game. So, no reason to do New Hope in this situation. All right. Here comes the attack. Here comes Piet. Yeah, yeah. So you see the interdictor card right there on top of the deck. And he had a couple other cards to burn. I don't know if he just had a little bit of a brain lapse. I'm leaving the Y-Wing behind an Ord because I want to score establish outposts. And I'm going to be able to do. I really like this play. So in a big battle like this where I'm the aggressor, you play Moncal and you flip it, and then you hopefully keep the Corvette alive to cancel their attempt to flip back. Now, the way to play around that, and 9,000, you know, you should probably be putting that red damage on the Corvette because what you really want to do is kill the Corvette. It doesn't matter because he rolls a buttload of crits, but um, yeah, I think you want to re-roll all the reds here. Um, the uh, because all you need is if you roll three red hits, then that's two more. Okay. So the way to play around that is to flip this turn, and then I can't flip it because both of my cards resolve first. But that takes. I guess the way to really play around it is to keep your Corvette, is to keep your interdict or cancel card. But he gets a good roll, takes out a ton of fighters, and it's it's not a guarantee, because so I'm taking out. Wow, I get the heal. That was actually Yeah, that was actually pretty lucky. So I can take out two TIE fighters. Right now, I'm trying to get rid of dice. I don't care about the interdictor. I don't care about retreating. He can roll greens all day long. He's got four green rolling dice, but can only use three. There's the major victory. And I kept some fighters back in the base too, so that I can move to Dathomir to really make sure. And then here's the cancel because he left the Corvette alive. And so he's going to continue, and now he's down to three red and only two black. So I was able to diminish his dice quite a lot just by taking out those few TIE fighters in the Star Destroyer. Mm. And it just feels like so few dice compared to what he needs. Exact damage on the Corvette and the Moncal. Um, a lot of hits. Just need one heal. Oh man, but that is rough. And especially because it's he's not getting that interdictor card back. Yeah, he's gonna, and I have my Moncal card back too. So the interdictor, is just incredibly weak without its card and incredibly weak on its own. Can't heal itself. I'm contemplating retreating, I think, but I can't because of the interdictor's ability. Um, I just need to do damage. Mm, the green dice. Sometimes it's just you roll them and you roll them and they're always blank. So yeah, so now Megiddo is going to be blockaded, and you can see how even with those even with those two Star Destroyers on the queue, it just wasn't enough. No need to roll it. He strikers can't heal, and yeah, Megiddo is in a world of hurt. And right here, I guess it's not guaranteed. He can definitely stop. Right, one, two, three, four. No, he can't. He can't stop establish outposts. I guess he rolls for he sees if I'll roll for discredit, but I'm not even going to mess around with that. The game is was really kind of unique. It started off with the rote setup, and then just uh, a couple of interesting dice rolls and things that happened that made the game. But I really have to give a lot of props to 9,000 for taking it all in stride and making some really good plays and yeah. So I was kind of thinking like, oh, there could be. I guess you could, with tag could be on construct star to store, construct a star, Death Star, then double our efforts with Palpatine, and then oversee with Tarkin. Um, and I'm kind of saying, yeah, I want to play around a Death Star, but the reality is, I'm just setting up to score this, establish outposts, and that's the game. Mad props to 9,000. He really did not get the best missions, it seemed like. And from what he was typing in chat, his probes weren't good too. And like I was saying at the beginning with the rote setup for Empire, if you get bad missions and bad probes, you're toast. It's just so hard to get to the corners of the map. And so I feel for him on that, but he hung in there and he gave it a valiant effort, and it was a really fun game. A lot of interesting interactions and choices, and so I hope you guys enjoy it. Um, we'll I'm trying to pump a video out once a week. I know it's going to get really busy for me here in the next month or so, so I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it. But man, my last video had the most views so far, or two videos ago, and so I don't know, it's fun. I hope you guys enjoy this. And if there's anything specific that you want me to talk about or to comment on, or specific kind of content you're looking for, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try to oblige. I really just want to just help people think about this game. I think it's a great game. I think it's a lot of fun. I really don't get tired of playing it. And the more people that can play it at a high strategic level, really, the more fun it is. The better the tournaments are, and the better the community is. And so that's sort of where we're at. But Thank you guys for watching and for playing, and I hope to catch you in the next one. GG's.